Ladies and germs, ladies and gents, I hope you're having a lot more fun than we are during our particular quarantines or lack of quarantines because the hustle ain't stopping over here. Playmakers podcast. Before we get into the free agency stuff and all the ins and outs and winners and losers, I'd like to say hey to you, partner Darnell. It's been so long. How you been doing?
And look at, I'm one of those necessary workers that have to keep working because of where I'm working. It's getting really crazy in this country, in this world. Y'all pray for me.
Yeah, and I'm one of those small business owners that are heavily considering taking out these quote-unquote low-interest loans. So please consider the sole proprietors and private contractors that don't have employees and might not get the assistance that they're trying to write in these 1,200-page bills. But, to try to have an hour of fun to get our minds off of this, we're going to talk about people that got paid a lot of money. I'm getting more depressed on it.
You ain't more depressed than me.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a competition.
We both ain't happy with the situation that we're in right now.
But hey, still positives to look for. You just gotta look for.
Most of last week, I think we talked about Tom Brady, DeAndre Hopkins, David Johnson. What the hell my Rams are doing, which is still a question, still to this week.
Ew.
And then I think you got some question about your Jaguars. Last week you was pretty all right last week, but I think you got some question about your Jaguars now.
No, my questions have been answered.
Oh,
I have natural questions that happen after free agency for all 32 fan bases, and 31.5 because you got to consider the Packers fans are owners, but still.
Okay. So let's see. So Tom Brady signed a 2-year deal with Tampa officially.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of real. How they had to go through this whole physical thing. That's one of the craziest things about this free agency. They got to do physicals. This ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, it's a 1-year prove-it deal in Atlanta for Todd Gurley, but bro, not being able to do a physical for players like Todd Gurley and Tyler Eifert in the Jaguars case, how is this gonna work? Because you're looking at May at the absolute earliest, which would be in the middle of mandatory OTAs on a regular calendar. So,
and just to refresh our memory, Joe Flacco was let go by the different Broncos because he felt it.
Yeah, because he felt it. And you talk about some crappy luck. I think that happened right before everything started going down. It was like the beginning stages of everything going down here in the United States. So you talk about some shitty luck. John Elway was getting on the horn early.
So y'all keep that in mind as we continue to go through this free agency period, and as the NFL wants to do the draft, but we'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Dallas and myself, we're gonna talk about our team a little later on, I'm just gonna go through this as I should. So this is going back to the 19th. So we got the Seahawks. They bringing back Bruce Irvin. Smart move.
Yeah. Very.
They are signing offensive tackle Brandon Shell from the New York Jets. 2-year, $11 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
I see no problems with that. Bring back a defensive line, and you bring some offensive help for Mr. Russell. I can hate it, but I can't. But I gotta respect it.
Pete Carroll's ability to moneyball the trenches and put forth 9 and 7 or better teams is quite frankly amazing, considering that football, at the end of the day, is a sport of big people hitting other big people. Interesting how he's able to do that. And play hardball with Clowney.
Michael Pierce, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, he has signed a 3-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings.
Good signing, young signing. The Baltimore Ravens, they're going to move Brandon Williams back inside. To be honest with you, I would choose Brandon Williams over Michael Pierce, but you're replacing Linval Joseph, who's got some years in the league with some younger tires. So that's a very good.
Your Jaguars have signed Rodney Gunter for the Arizona Cardinals, defensive lineman.
More of a run support guy. He's going to fill in that big defensive end spot that the Calais Campbell trade vacated. So that's good because the run defense was woeful. And the best way to fix a run defense is to get big bodies that are dedicated to stopping the run.
The Cleveland Browns, they looking at defense because something we didn't get to last week. They signed Christian Kirksey,
Mm-hmm.
and now they bringing in B.J. Goodson.
And
So
what
they working
position does he play again?
linebacker for.
Linebacker core? Yeah, I mean, dude, what else is there to fix in Cleveland? At this point in Cleveland, you're either going to have an elite offense or you're getting a new quarterback. They've done all they can do for the offense. So you got to start working on that defense.
And they also bringing in Carl Joseph, the former safety for the Oakland, now Las Vegas Raiders, should I say.
That's good. That's good. You don't got to blow up your bank to have a decent defense. And the Cleveland Browns, they just need a decent defense. Because, again, they should be scoring at least 27 a game with that offense.
I'm going to say the Detroit thing, because that's just interesting how things went out down there.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you see Josh Gordon playing football this season?
It's tricky because, you know, he can't get suspended anymore for marijuana, but the fine system, I don't know. I honestly don't know because it's quote unquote not a problem to like weed anymore. But Josh Gordon is going to be a different case. And you got to think with a wide receiver deep draft, with a lot of wide receivers left in free agency, with the quarterbacks from college that are going to get shifted to wide receiver and undrafted free agency. I don't know. You got Antonio Brown out there. Who was the better wide receiver, Josh Gordon or Antonio Brown? Who's more likely to have an issue and get suspended by Roger Goodell, Antonio Brown or Josh Gordon?
That's a rhetorical question.
It is because it's the same thing. It's, again, just like Joe Flacco's physical being done right before all the shutdowns, Josh Gordon picked a hell of an NFL draft to get pegged again. So I doubt it. I want to say I don't know, but I honestly doubt it.
So now let me revert back to the Detroit Lions. Desmond Trufant from the Falcons goes to Detroit. Detroit decides to ship Darius Slay to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Who did a better job?
Oh, Howie Roseman. Like, you know, they were trying to get Darius Slay last year, but for whatever reason, Darius Slay was good enough to not do the trade with the Eagles last year, but he's not good enough to work out with Pro Bowl corners, even though Darius Slay has been to the Pro Bowl the past 3 years coming out of the Detroit Lions organization. Eagles fans, I can see that they're being very impatient because, to be fair, Darnell, their 7-on-7 skill positions are whack. Like, yeah, you know, they got Roby Coleman today and they got Slay, but, you know, a nickel corner and a CB1 do not a defense make, do not a better team make. But, you know, as far as that particular deal goes, oh, Eagles, easy. Because Slay basically ended up leaving Detroit because of a head coach that has been garbage his first 2 seasons on the job, who, by the way, was having a very hard time getting his first shot as a head coach simply because he wouldn't shave down his beard. Now, as ridiculous as that may be, it kind of goes to show you, like, bro, if he was really that good, would a football coach having a beard have made that much of a difference? Because you could fill back in with, you know, Patriots players and stuff, Darnell. But, bro, 3 Pro
Which he
Bowls.
has been doing.
Hmm?
Which he has been doing.
Yeah, what he has been doing. But here's the thing, Darnell. 3 Pro Bowls out of Detroit. Detroit is like a, you know, it's, I want to say it's a major American city, but it's like not. It's one of the most famous American cities. But the Detroit Lions organization has just been abysmal for a very long time. Making a Pro Bowl 3 straight years out of Jacksonville, Arizona, Cincinnati, or Detroit is something that should be lauded and heavily praised. Don't see how Matt Patricia thought that letting that player go simply because he worked out with other people and because they couldn't get along personality-wise is smart. But, Belichick disciples. What can we say, Darnell? Belichick disciples.
You got Keith Kirkwood going from the Saints to the Panthers. He's falling water.
Mm.
Y'all be patient. We're going to get to the whole Todd Gurley thing with my Rams. What else we got going? Colt McCoy going from the Redskins to the Giants. I didn't see that coming.
That's very interesting considering the fact that, he's had injury issues in the starts that he's made, which is very bad because he's been a backup but has injury issues. But just like Case Keenum going to the Browns, you have high risk, high reward quarterbacks in Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones. Then there are backups, Colt McCoy and Case Keenum, even keel, average. You know what you're going to get, which isn't a lot. But, hey, it's not going to be a 5-touchdown, 5-interception shootout game either. So that's an interesting move to me, that and the Case Keenum move, because you got two completely different types of quarterbacks in your room when you have a Daniel Jones and a Colt McCoy and a Case Keenum and Baker Mayfield.
Now, I'm where we at? 12 minutes in, so we're gonna think about this because I'm gonna throw two safeties names out there. We know very well that are on different teams now. You got Adrian Phillips, who used to play for the Chargers, is with the Patriots. And then you got Clinton Dix, is with the Cowboys.
Yes.
I think I like the Cowboys signing him more because I like Clinton Dix. But I think I like Clinton Dix a little bit more.
Clinton Dix on a 1-year deal. That I like it more too because here's the thing with Clinton Dix. You talk about for example, the Colt McCoy and Case Keenum thing. With Clinton Dix, you're getting a guy who is going to be a solid starting safety, but could mess around and be a Pro Bowl alternate too. Clinton Dix is a guy who can mess around and make a Pro Bowl after, injuries and Super Bowl results and all that stuff. And you gotta think the Cowboys fans really didn't want Jeff Heath. They said Jeff Heath. Well, that whole back end now is gonna have to do a lot of reshuffling. But I like the Clinton Dix signing. I really do. He was good in Green Bay. He wasn't bad in Washington. He had a good year with Chicago last year. He's turned into a little bit of a journeyman, but I'm with you. I like it more.
Yeah. Adrian Phillips, I want to see what Bill Belichick going to do. Bill Belichick going to do something with him. Going to be interested to see.
Well, that backfield is crowded, too. It's going to be very interesting because he's a safety. He's for sure a safety. But I think Chung is still on that team. I think they still have a lot of the depth CBs and safeties, the swingmen from last year. I think they have some of their nickels from last year. That might be the deepest part of the Patriots roster is the defensive backfield. So that's another thing to consider, too, when you weigh the signings. Right now, Clinton Dix is probably the starter in Dallas. I think he's playing free.
Who else is over there?
Well, that's the thing. You may think, some people may think 1-year deal, but I think it's 1 for 4. 1 for 4 at the safety position.
1 year, $4 million with $2.5 million guaranteed.
Yeah, 2.5 guaranteed on a 1-year deal with nobody else. Because you can't just draft 4 defensive backs in one draft. They all ain't gonna make the team. So yeah, he's starting right now.
All right. So where are we at right now?
We need to go to the first break.
We're going to break, people. We'll be back. We got more to talk about. All right. So now that we are back, what's some more other than interesting things that happened during free agency? Oh, Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Ebron, a Steeler.
Yeah, good receiving tight end, good balance tight end. Eric Ebron is really like the total package. Very interesting. Got Big Ben coming back. If I remember correctly, Noah Fant went to the Broncos and they drafted T.J. Hockenson up in Pittsburgh, right? So you got T.J. Hockenson, Eric Ebron. With Juju getting hurt, having kind of a rocky season last year without Antonio Brown on the other side, two tight end sets, two receiving tight ends in Pittsburgh with the way they play football nowadays, that's actually going to be very interesting. Because the last time you really saw two good receiving tight ends on the field at the same time was New England during that one era. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Speaking of the Steelers, I'm looking at this trade that they did, and I can't believe who they traded with.
Who?
Now, I'm not saying who they traded for. I'm saying who they traded with. So the Baltimore Ravens sent defensive end Chris Wormley and a 7th-round pick for next year's draft to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 5th-round pick for next year.
Well, you got to think, when you're surprised about who's doing business with each other, you have to look at the player and think to yourself, damn. Also, you have to think of Baltimore in general. Baltimore got a 3-time Pro Bowler out of a Jaguars jersey. Guy made it an All-Pro team, was defensive player of 2017.
They picked up from both of us.
But no, listen. They got Calais Campbell, probably the best free agent signing in Jacksonville's franchise history. They had 3 straight pros, defensive player of 2017. They got him for a 5th-round pick. Now, a guy who they were probably going to cut anyway, they were going to cut him. Instead, they trade him to a division rival and actually get something back. Think about that. You're willing to trade somebody into the division. That means you don't think he's worth nothing. That means you don't think he's a threat, which means he is easily cuttable. You get a 5th for him. Ozzie Newsome must have been just having that.
That damn D-line.
I just want to know what kind of seminars and mentoring sessions Ozzie Newsome was having when he knew it was his last 2 years in the business. Because only the Ravens can get a 5th-round pick for somebody they were just going to cut anyway. And the whole league knew they were probably going to cut. The whole league knew that Michael Brockers, Calais Campbell, and Brandon Williams were the starting defensive line for the Baltimore Ravens. They knew anybody else not named those 3 that had DL in front of their name was expendable. And they still got a 5th from a division rival. Ain't that something?
Speaking of division rivals, Melvin Gordon left the Chargers and went to the Broncos. What does that mean for Philip Lindsay?
They said that he took less because he liked the prospect of playing Los Angeles twice a year. First of all, that's trash. Because, bro, he ended up getting 8. I think it's 13.5 guaranteed, but it's 8 a year when you fill in those incentive gaps. Dude, they said they were going to give you 10 a year last training camp, and you held out for more than 10 a year. Now you're going to take 8 to play against the Chargers twice a year, but you could have gotten more, but you want to play against the Chargers that bad? Melvin Gordon done messed the bank up for everybody. Todd Gurley is one thing, and we'll get to that, but Melvin Gordon is healthy. He got forced out by Austin Eckler. He got his snap count decreased, but everybody still knows Melvin Gordon is still Melvin Gordon. 16? I don't know, Darnell. I don't know who to be more confused and mad at. Melvin Gordon, when he could have gotten 10 and basically politicked his way into not getting forced out by Austin Eckler, or the Broncos for paying Melvin Gordon $8 million when they got Philip Lindsay on his rookie contract still. Because, you don't pay a running back $8 million a year to be the change of pace back. But Philip Lindsay, undrafted free agent, 2 straight seasons, 1,000 yards. Made the Pro Bowl his rookie season. I have to honestly think, Darnell, Melvin Gordon still has to prove that he can go all 16 games as a bell cow. I think this is more so paying the money you need to pay to get a good back while also conserving Lindsey's career and body. Because Lindsey's only 3 years in. They still have to give him his first big contract. They expect him to be a Broncos running back for a long time. Is Melvin Gordon really going to be a Bronco after these 2 years?
I'm gonna shut up before I go off with John Elway.
And oh God, hopefully he's found his quarterback. If not, Darnell, they're going to run that ball into the ground. At this point, I don't even know why John Elway's still trying to find a quarterback. Just run the ball. You ran the ball with Terrell Davis. It worked out well. Run it again.
Everson Griffin says goodbye to the Minnesota Vikings.
Don't know what they're doing up there because it seems like they've found a way to keep that window propped up. And then they make the moves they make this offseason, but extend Kirk Cousins for 2 years. I don't understand. This is the franchise that has had Case Keenum take them to an NFC Championship game and Teddy Bridgewater be a franchise quarterback. But Kirk Cousins.
You did the perfect transition for me because you brought up Teddy Bridgewater. Because remember last week we was talking about the New Orleans Saints, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having somebody on the other side of Michael Thomas. Insert Emmanuel Sanders to that team.
Finally, a number 2 receiver. Finally. Ted Ginn's been, holding down the fort with those 36 catches every year, but finally.
Drew Brees is going to have Emmanuel Sanders on one side and Michael Thomas on the other side. Yeah, they might be on the both sides because Emmanuel Sanders can line up in the slot too. Actually, Michael Thomas lines in the slot too also.
It makes me wonder how this is going to work. Because, see, Kamara can split out wide, but he does a lot of his work out of the backfield. So I just wonder, what they're going to draw up and how it's going to work because Thomas is really a possession receiver and Emmanuel Sanders is a deep threat, but Thomas is big. He long. And you ain't got to have 140 catches every year to have a major impact. I wonder how much they're going to stretch that field over there in New Orleans because they still got Jared Cook, too. Andrews Pete's coming back, so you're going to have the time and the protection to get it done. Very interesting.
Okay, people. So we're gonna stay in the division because I'm gonna go ahead and let Dallas do what he say what he needs to say because since we stay in the division, Jameis Winston is no longer in Tampa Bay officially, and Cam Newton is no longer in Carolina.
That's wild because it's the opposite. Jameis thinking that he was gonna get 30, Dak thinking that he was gonna get 35. Those are two things where it's it's weird because you price yourself out of the long-term deal and the long-term money. I think that they would have tried to go for Tom Brady in Tampa, even if Jameis Winston brought his number down. But the fact that Jameis Winston thought that his passing title was enough to warrant $30 million a year while completely ignoring his interceptions over the past 5 seasons kind of sort of sealed his fate. I have to think to myself because Jadeveon Clowney is pricing himself out the market. That's why Jadeveon Clowney hasn't been signed yet as of this recording. Jameis Winston has to be doing the same thing. What the hell is his agent doing? And what is Jameis Winston doing? Because teams that don't have quarterbacks right now, Darnell, they're waiting to the draft. Cam Newton's a different story because Cam Newton is basically probably going to sign a 1-year deal. That 1-year deal is probably going to be in the teens. And he's probably going to go to a team where it's going to be an open quarterback competition, even if they were to draft a quarterback. Because the Los Angeles Chargers and the Patriots, 2 teams that he could probably go to, they have situations where they have a quarterback that they either want to get or a quarterback that they have that they wouldn't mind developing for another year. When you have a franchise like Los Angeles and New England that has had one quarterback for a long-ass time, they kind of understand the benefit of thinking 15 seasons down the road and not just, I got to have a Rookie of the Year candidate now.
I find it funny because the pitcher had signed Brian Hoyer.
Well, think about it. Brian Hoyer knows the playbook, but Brian Hoyer isn't a long-term threat to Jarrett Stidham. Like, if the Patriots were to actually get a game-breaking tight end, because at this point with wide receiver, I mean, the side adjustment offense, the route running is hard, is different. But dude, just if they were to be able to get a game-breaking tight end, or if Sony Michel were to be able to bounce back, Jarrett Stidham is going to look a lot better than he already did last preseason. He looked really good last preseason. But he needs either a running back or a tight end that can help him out. So Brian Hoyer, let him take those hits. Let him break in that tight end. Let him hand off to Sony Michel and hope Sony Michel gets it back together. Let's hope Isaiah Wynn at left tackle can stay healthy. That former first round pick. So Cam Newton has a market because if Cam Newton's healthy, he's probably going to take a prove-it deal, and they'll get paid on the back end. Jameis Winston has priced himself out of the market and has seemed to have forgotten that he threw 30 picks. So it's like
33 touchdowns.
Yeah, he threw for 5,100 yards.
But
and the team went 7. Yeah, and like here's the crazy thing, and here's why in the NFL teams aren't taking a shot on Jameis right now. He threw for 5,100 yards the same season Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl. He threw for over 30 touchdowns. But he threw for 30 interceptions, and his team went 7-9. Darnell, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went 7-9, and their starting quarterback threw 30 interceptions. I know I've been saying it every week, but people, you have to comprehend. A number 1 overall pick in his contract year wins the passing title. You go 7-9. If he just threw 15 interceptions, they probably make the same run the Titans did. The Saints get knocked out in the first round. The Seahawks are working with like guys literally off the street on a nostalgic run. The Seahawks had like no running game to speak of both games they played in the playoffs. The Packers, look at what happened to the Packers in the NFC Championship game. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was throwing to Devontae Adams, and that was it. Like, dude, Jameis Winston tapers down the interceptions a little bit. They can shoot out with anybody that made the NFC playoff. And the NFL GMs are like, bro, he basically squandered away 4 wins at least.
I'm going to keep my comments myself. Nelson Aguilar is going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Interesting.
On a league minimum. The league minimum with the veteran benefit.
DJ Granger with the Saints. The NFC South is going to be one of the most interesting divisions to watch. That's to see how this plays out.
Yeah, because, for the first time in a long time, Darnell, Tampa Bay is not the bottom feeder. Tampa Bay is not the team you're looking at the beginning of the season and saying, yeah, they're probably going to end up at the bottom.
Kyle Allen was traded to the Redskins.
Which surprised me because Kyle Allen got Ron Rivera fired. This is called a spade. Ron Rivera put Cam Newton on IR because Kyle Allen started off like 5-0. They thought that they had something with Kyle Allen and could put Cam Newton on IR. Kyle Allen falls through the bottom of the trash can. It was so bad, they fired Ron Rivera with like a month to go in the season. Kyle Allen got Ron Rivera fired, and Ron Rivera brings him into the quarterback room. Now, Kyle Allen is a former undrafted guy. Kyle Allen is somebody who knows what Ron Rivera might be trying to do and might be trying to install. I don't think that takes them out of the Tua conspiracy theory, but it does make me worry that you're bringing in a guy that you put Cam Newton on IR for to compete with Dwayne Haskins when everybody knows the Dwayne Haskins situation right now.
All right, so that's a lot more we can get into. But I think it's about time for that other break, is it?
It is, actually.
All right, so let's take our second break, and we can finish this off on the right note.
Yay.
All right, so real quickly before we get into how we feel about our teams, Steven Gronkowski was released by the Patriots.
Say that again?
Steven Gronkowski was released
Oh,
by the New England.
Gaskowski. Yeah. Gaskowski. Yeah, hey, that he's expensive for a kicker. He's expensive for a
Dion
kicker.
Lewis to the Giants.
Swing
I
out
don't,
back.
I don't like that for Derrick Henry.
You gotta think Deion Lewis can't do what Derrick Henry can do. One thing you have to look at for teams is their systems. Deion Lewis can't run like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can't catch like Deion Lewis. You gotta pick one.
Okay. The Seahawks acquired Quentin Dunbar from the Redskins to try to bustle up that secondary for Seattle.
Uh,
What else we got going on? We have New Orleans Saints are reworking their deal with Janoris Jenkins.
hmm,
Philip Dorsett with the Seattle Seahawks.
okay, that should
Peyton
work.
Barber, Peyton Barber leaves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and goes to the Redskins. Robbie Anderson to the Carolina Panthers. Devin Funchess to the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
That should be interesting. Rashard Perriman, Jets. And then before we get into the Jaguars and the Rams, two XFL players were signed to the NFL team. One being P.J. Walker to the Carolina Panthers, and the other one being Jordan Top. Hold on, what's his name? Jordan. I only know how to pronounce his last name. But I think he played for.
Jordan Tamu.
Did he play for
Tahamu.
BYU? Yeah. And it's the quarterback from BYU.
He might have been.
The Chiefs signed him. Why did the Chiefs sign him? I don't know.
Who? Why they saying Jordan Tamu?
Yeah.
Because you want to have a backup that can at least somehow, some way, not have a. You don't want to have Patrick Mahomes than Matt Moore. You want to have Patrick Mahomes and then somebody who might be able to breathe in the same galaxy as him one day. Ta'amu was the franchise quarterback for the Battlehawks. He was the starting quarterback. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the XFL in that short season. You want a guy who looks like he might be able to be the guy as your backup. Because again, your starters shape your system. You want somebody to back up your starter that can fit in said system.
He went to Ole Miss.
See, SEC guy. It just means more.
He went to Ole Miss. So, all right. Now we got those out the way. Did I miss anything important? Anything else important I need to talk about?
Nothing major. I'm looking right now. Nothing major.
Tajay Sharp. Ooh. Tajay Sharp's with the Vikings and not the Titans no more. Nikhil will be coming is with the Eagles.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, that cornerback, defensive back in general. I mean, people like to say build the defense from the defensive line on back, but I mean, hey, it's a passing league. You can force some turnovers here and there, get extra possession. Same thing as getting a sack and forcing a punt. They'll still need corner help in the draft, though. They got a lot of defensive backs right now. But they had a lot of defensive backs last year, and they were trash. So, hey.
And to finish it off, Ron Bell leads the Saints for the Bengals.
Bengals spent some money, man. Bengals actually spent like over $100 million in free agency this year. Mike Brown there must be something we don't know, because he don't spend money like this. And he's about to draft a quarterback number 1 overall, more than likely. So the highest contract you can possibly pay out to a rookie. The first actual, because I think the CBA is going to cover this draft. Not sure. But either way, highest contract you could pay to somebody, you're about to pay it to a quarterback. That means the fifth year option is going to be crazy and all that stuff. So Mike Brown has spent some money.
All right. I can't hide from it. I got to swallow this pill. I said it last week. I asked this last week, and I'm going to ask again. What are we doing?
Mm.
We released Todd Gurley. He goes to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
We gave away Michael Brockers. We're keeping Brandon Cooks because we couldn't trade him. For those of you who are new to the podcast, I'm talking about the Los Angeles Rams. Aaron Donald's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Jalen Ramsey is still trying to figure out what the hell.
He's trying to figure out if he's going to resign.
This new damn logo is ridiculous.
Ooh.
I know you seen the logo and he's like, is that the best I can come up with? Come on now. It is really, 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 really hard being around.
At least Jared Goff's your quarterback.
You know, somebody sat here and somebody posted a tweet and said, bring in Cam Newton, he's better than Jared Goff. People went back at Cam because he's not accurate in Jared Goff is. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, hell, we already let go key players anyway. I just went through this list. I did not see a Rams signing nowhere in sight. I went all the way back to March 18th to today. Not one single Ram on a free agency tracker.
That means that they're trying to open up as much cap as possible. Because the problem
are you doing? Okay, so we're gonna give the load to Darrell Henderson. All right, I'm cool with that. I want to see what the boy do because he was good at Memphis. So I'm gonna see what he does. But damn it, what are we doing?
I mean, so like, how are you thinking this season's about to go? Because you still have the draft, but you don't have a first round pick. And I don't mean that to troll. I mean as like, first round picks. You usually try to get I mean, having Brandon Cooks and Andrew Whitworth, that's good. You have veterans at like key positions. Somebody to protect Jared Goff, somebody for Jared Goff to throw to. You still got Robert Woods for now. Still got Cooper Kupp for now. But I mean, it's going to be another season of being an offensive team. Because even if you get a 4-3 coordinator in there, I mean, hopefully you build a defense where Aaron Donald can just do whatever he wants and just wreak havoc on offensive guards across the league. No need for complicated blitzes. No need for pare it down. You're going to have Jalen Ramsey play, but like, you're pretty much going to be an offensive team. Do you think that our offense is going to be enough to actually compete?
We're going to see. We going to Mind if I just tell you, I'm kind of still out there. What is taking y'all so damn long? Yeah,
His money.
Give us something to be excited about. Jeez.
Well,
we don't have JoJo Natson no more. I forgot he went to Carolina. He went to Cleveland, I think.
Well, you have to remember, Darnell, even though the salary cap is a myth, salary cap is still a rule in the NFL. You have to, when you have off seasons like the Los Angeles Rams have been having, they're trying desperately to open up some room in their cap. So, but
I tell you, I got to deal with all this stuff that's going on. And knowing my division is everybody before all this happened was going to be loaded on the NFC West because the San Francisco have made a comeback. The Arizona Cardinals are trying to get better. The Seattle Seahawks and the Rams have a young head coach that's been doing good. He just had his one bump in the road so far. Now everybody want to see how he responds. Shout out to the NFC West.
It's a coming. It is a coming.
Where we at, though? All right. Go ahead. Let's get to those beloved team that in the city that I live in.
Yeah. So the
Carolina,
Jaguars. Oh,
they
please
got
go
my.
ahead.
Mm, if he can stay healthy, I'll like it. That's my only question.
Yeah, but it's only a 2-year deal. So the second year is probably an opt out or extremely incentively. Like you gotta think, for example, Joe Schobert, inside linebacker from Cleveland, they signed him to a 5-year, $53.7 million deal. That's a guy that they want to stay around. That's a guy that they want to work out. Tyler Eifert, injury prone, 2 years, 15.5 mil. Yeah, it seems like a lot at first, but I mean, it's cheap if he can stay healthy and be a Pro Bowler like he was in the past. It ain't that bad after the first year if he stays injury prone, and then they cut him like they did Jeff Swain. But that was actually the splash offensive signing when you think about it. Tyler Eifert. It's been a defensive free agency. What the Jaguars usually try to do is to address their needs in free agency. It's weird because in the draft they always say best available player and blah 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 blah. But it's like you really, really actually see what it's like when a team is addressing their needs and not just trying to get the best player in the field at the time. Because inside linebacker, that move helps them move Miles Jack back out to the outside where he's naturally belonging. Rodney Gunther, big 300+ pound defensive end. He's gonna fill the spot Calais Campbell was in. Darquez Denard, gonna compete at corner. They need corners. They're probably still gonna draft a corner in the first 2 days. Al
Uh,
Woods,
Rashard Melvin from Detroit. I'm not familiar with this guy. To be completely honest with you.
me either, but he's 30 and he's only going to make 2.25 mil on a 1-year deal. So again, that's probably for competition. I mean, defensive back, you're starting 4. You can have 5 at any given time because of your nickel back. That means you need at least 10 defensive backs on the team. So, and most of them are going to play special teams. So that's probably a guy where it's like he'll be competing at corner, might get lucky, might not, might end up being a special teamer. Al Woods, he's 33, a journeyman, but he's a big, big defensive tackle. They're going to try to use him to help out in the run. Like none of these deals, except for the Joe Schobert one, are huge because the Jaguars had to clear out a bunch of cap and pull off the miracle that they did with the Nick Foles trade to get enough room to even address needs in free agency. So, I mean, hey, the defense took a huge step down last year. So they tried to address the actual positions that need to be addressed with veteran players. And now they're going to go into the draft and probably keep going defense because Darnell, as me and you both know, and as I'm sure many people in Jacksonville know, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a defensive franchise. They could care little to less about offense, and it's only there because it has to be.
That's damn shame.
It is.
We talked
It's only
about
work.
the Nard last week.
Mm-hmm.
At least you got somebody to be in the secondary.
Again, NFL draft is coming up, but yeah.
And I think that's all I got right now. We talked about the Nick Foles trade.
Oh, and Cassius Marsh. They signed Cassius Marsh. His financial details haven't been released yet, but they signed him at outside linebacker. He's been a guy who's like he's a pass rusher, but his numbers are obviously nowhere near Jan, who he would be trying to help replace. But he is a pass rusher. He's a veteran. He knows how to set edges and stuff like that. So yeah, the thing is with Jaguars free agency, there's not much to talk about because they didn't have a much cap room to spend. At the same time, though, if you really look back at the Bears teams, the past Bills team, the Vikings team in 2017, and really, really look at the Patriots defense last year, actually, if you really look at the names on the starting defenses of the past couple of years that ended up like being really good at carrying teams, not a lot of star players, not a lot of dream team defenses out there. You just need a defensive coordinator and the personnel to make a good defense be a good defense. That's the difference between defense in the NFL and offense in the NFL. Offense, you're going to need some superstars. You're going to need a Shannon Sharp and a Terrell Davis to finally get John Elway over the hump. You're hoping.
Get a word on your defensive end. I know y'all put the franchise tag on him, but any other news besides that? Did he sign it or anything?
No, he doesn't want to be in Jacksonville, but at the same time, Jan can command the first round pick and maybe another pick. For whatever reason, some people in Philly are saying that Philly's been talking to Jacksonville, but Mike Kay, who used to cover the Jaguars, said that nobody's been talking to Jacksonville. So, again, NFL draft is coming up and Jadeveon Clowney's still out there. The problem with getting Jan dealt is, A, Yannick's made it brutally clear that he's not going to sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have no leverage whatsoever. But the Jadeveon Clowney contract is going to basically show how much they can pay Yannick. Because when you trade for Yannick, you're going to be giving up a first or a bunch of seconds and thirds. So you're going to want to sign him to at least a 3-year deal. That deal would let Jadeveon Clowney talk to his suitors and say, hey, he got that. Jadeveon Clowney gets paid. People who trade for Yannick are like, well, dang, we got to give up at least 2 high picks, and we got to pay him around this number. So that's why that's taking so long. They're basically playing chicken without playing chicken. I really don't think Jadeveon Clowney and Yannick care about each
other. Okay. Where do you sit as far as your division?
Losing DeAndre Hopkins in a wide receiver heavy draft isn't enough to make the Houston Texans the worst team in the division. Bill O'Brien being the general manager and the head coach, and that organization not putting any checks and balances against him, is cause for them to be considered the worst team in the division. Deshaun Watson, God save his soul, probably ain't looking to sign a long-term deal right now. That being said, this might be the last hurrah. So I don't know. Tennessee, they did exactly what I needed them to do, and they traded Darrell Casey. So it's weird. The division is actually wide open because you don't need Gardner Minshew to be Peyton Manning. You just need him to not be Blake Bortles. If the Jaguars go super duper defense heavy in the draft, they're right back in it because Ryan Tannehill, he'll throw a pick. Deshaun Watson, he'll eat some sacks. And Phillip Rivers, he'll turn the ball over and eat some sacks. There's no quarterback in the division right now that's truly immortal if good defenses are fielded. And usually the AFC South comes with some pretty good defenses. So I don't know. It's a complete toss-up. I would pick Houston because for whatever reason, Deshaun Watson and Bill O'Brien are just good enough in the regular season to win the division. And Phillip Rivers, he didn't do anything in Los Angeles. Why would he do anything on a 1-year deal with the Colts? Ryan Tannehill. They won't pay Derrick Henry. So how's that going to work out? Is Derrick Henry going to say, I haven't been able to work out, I'm holding out for a new deal, I'm not going to put myself at risk? Who knows? That's another thing we got to think about too, Darnell. We don't know how long this thing is going to last. So how long will these players actually have before the preseason starts? Because you can't just go out one day and say, I'm going to play an NFL game. Tons of dudes are going to get hurt. So, but yeah, I'd say Houston in the regular season because that's how Bill O'Brien keeps his job. I don't know about Ryan Tannehill and Phillip Rivers.
So, like, that's pretty much all we got. There's nothing much to really go on because this coronavirus have fully taken over.
Yeah. And the NFL draft is literally, I think by the time of this recording, I think the NFL draft is like a little bit less than a month away, like 27, 28 days away. So,
yeah. Right. Yeah, because they ain't pushed it back yet. They might get forced to, the way this is going.
Yeah, like they're planning to do it virtually, but the GM committee unanimously voted to recommend that they push the draft back. And again, that's going to mess up the entire ecosystem of the season, which is why Roger Goodell, because you're not making much money off of the draft now. You can't sell live tickets. If you do it virtually, it'll probably be a closed door session. ESPN and Fox, they'll probably cover it as it goes, but you're not making money off the draft. You're just not. So it's probably to keep the league calendar on schedule as much as possible, but it's probably going to get pushed back.
And in other news, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be covering the Olympics because there is no Olympics this year.
Yeah, and that should let you know what we're looking at, because you have to think South Korea, China, the United States, Italy, Canada, United Kingdom. Those are like some of the quote unquote big name countries that have had significant cases. You got Prince Charles of Wales, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, celebrities in America. Italy's going through it, Spain's going through it. Yeah, I think those are countries that, usually have the resources and funding to field strong Olympic teams. Now think about the countries that you never talk about or never hear of. Think about the countries that only send 15 people or one person because that's all they can afford.
The Netherlands, Finland, yeah. Switzerland.
Well, no, the Swiss bank. Google it. But I'm talking about the teams in Africa. I'm talking about the teams in the Middle East, teams in like Southeast Asia. Like, there's a lot of countries, small countries, that, if this is hitting countries like the United States as hard as it is, it's hitting them bad too. So, and then you just got to think too, Darnell, even if you don't have fans in the stands, there's like 200 athletes every sport. Like wrestling, judo. Like, nah, it can't happen. You would have to cut like half the sports.
So yeah, this coronavirus is taking a fully fledged. Anything else? Well, if anything else, you might get. Are we gonna talk about WrestleMania next week?
Dude, at this point, we don't even know if WrestleMania is still gonna go on. Vince is doing everything he can to work around the recommendations and stuff, but there's still no guarantee because 2 wrestlers are in quarantine right now. That's why they've changed some of these matches and had last-minute matches come out of nowhere. So, bro, who knows? Because it only takes one. You gotta remember, the wrestlers are independent contractors. So if one WWE superstar tests positive for corona, that's going to throw everything out the track.
Pretty much that's how this started. Rudy Gobert got tested positive and everything went downhill.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Because what people don't understand is you have the virus for like at least 2 weeks after you get it. And there's new cases popping up every day. So you got to think, if new cases are popping up every day, those people are going to have it for 2 weeks. And all the people that were around that person, they got to get. So, dude, if one wrestler, while they're doing stuff in the performance center and all this stuff and children, it only takes one. And it could be Dana Brooke or Rey Mysterio, who was not going to be in a world title match or any kind of title match, but it just takes one. And, for all the fans out there who think that Vince is doing this for the fans and trying to entertain the fans as much as possible, you're naive and you're fooling yourself. Grow up, please. If not for yourself, for the sake of your children, because Vince McMahon is not doing this for you.
Well, I have no final remarks. So that is all you.
Oh, like a closing point?
Yep.
We're going through some tough times right now. And, Deshaun Watson's starting to do cryptic tweets. He's starting to do what it takes to save Deshaun Watson. You can't help yourself unless you help others or help others, however the saying goes. Just, I don't know, man. Pray for the AFC South. Pray for the world. Pray for yourselves. Stay in the house. It's really that simple at this point. Stay in the house. You pay the bills. You pay the rent. Just do what you can. Do what you can to help your community, to help your neighborhood, to help your household, and just stay safe. And always and forever, because I don't know which outlet this will be on, fuck the Tennessee Titans.